Focus on mind, body, soul, and spirit, politics, faith, community, you name it. We will not be paused, edited, or muted. The truth will be televised. You are now about to be plugged in with Uncut Live with Kenneth Clark. Yours truly, my man Hannibal. He's one of the co-hosts of Uncut Live with Kenneth Clark.
Yes, thank you. I'm here. Hey, it's Hannibal. Hannibal, you may know me as Hannibal the Boss from the Shop Powered by the listeners. I am pleased and excited to have this opportunity with someone that inspires me to do great things for the community and our people. So the pleasure is mine, sir, and I'm looking forward to a great experience.
And so on today's topic, y'all, we're going to talk about where do we go from here and what has happened to mankind's heart. And so, last night's show, I call it a show because that's exactly what it was, in my view, if you ask me. But those who are chiming in, please feel free to share this live. Won't cost you nothing, but just click the share button on the right-hand side of the screen. So last night, I believe that last night's show was a reflection of where we are at as far as individuals.
Okay.
I really believe that is what we saw last night. We saw a reflection of the mindset of not being caring.
Okay.
Trying to out-talk people.
Now, you referring to the debate?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. When you say last night's show, I was like, hold on, what show? But the debate, it was a show, though. It was like a reality show, so you're right. Okay.
That's what I call it.
Yeah.
And I think, the truth be told, that's just a reflection of how we interact with each other on a day-to-day basis as leaders.
Even more so now in today's 24-hour news cycle, and everyone's desire to be seen and heard at the expense of the others, then you are correct. Like I was telling you, I think I told my daughter last night, it's like being in the sandbox. When you were younger, you were in the sandbox. Oh, that's my toy. Or that's my, or such and such. Kenneth, he got dirty shoes, right? And so now you're in so-called the leaders of the free world. They're engaging, and they did in the 2016 election, engaging in rhetoric that is becoming of little children.
And I see I got a message. Somebody said pull it up, so let me pull this up a little bit closer.
Okay.
Sorry about that, y'all.
It's all good.
I believe last night was really like I said, it's the mentality of how we where we're at as far as leadership.
Yes.
We have a lot of belittling.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all know on Uncut Live with Kenneth Clark, we go in straight 100 on 1,000. Straight like that. So what you hear is what you hear, and what you hear is what you're gonna get.
Yes.
I believe that and by the way, I'm gonna just put this on the record. Uncut Live with Kenneth Clark is not sponsored or funded by any political party.
Sponsored by nobody.
We're not sponsored to say this, and I'm gonna put this on the record too. Not only we're not sponsored, but this is an independent entity. And we're not funded by anyone, straight like that. It's just what you see and what you hear is us operating in our constitutional privilege, speaking thoughts from black men. Okay, so I want to put that out there as a particular too. And what you've seen here is what you've seen here, what you're gonna get. But back to what we were saying, we have a lot of belittling in our community. We have a lot of belittling in how we treat each other and how we see each other. I think what we saw last night was the perfect definition of the lack of humanization. We've lost the humanity within humankind, if that makes sense.
Right.
You know, my principle, I believe that no matter if you're Democrat or Republican or whatever you may be, that still at the end of the day, that human factor, that humanism factor, that humanistic factor is missing.
Yes, it is.
It's almost like when we treat each other, we don't know how to treat each other accordingly. So we'll look
Why
at...
is that, though? Let's delve in. Why is that? Why? No, I mean, what's the first thing that comes to your thought process when you say we don't know how to treat each other? You know, based on what you said.
Because I believe that we use religion.
Okay.
We use social status.
Okay.
As determining factors
of acceptance.
Okay. As to whether or not even how we're going to treat each other.
Yes.
So
we have barriers. We put barriers up based on what you're saying. Is we create barriers in an early age based on traditions that's passed down. If you're a Muslim, you're not getting into heaven.
Yeah.
Okay. If you are ex-con, or you're black, or you're white, or you're tall, I don't want you in my family, or you have to do this, and we are driven by that, and I think it's even more so now. I keep going back to the advent of technology, the things that we're exposed to, we're mentally not ready to handle it, and so there's something called information overload, and we've already, just think of it, when we come out of the womb, we have 18 years of learning from hurt people. And we shape and structure our life based on what we learn from hurt people. So therefore, there is no humanity when I'm a hurt person, then what's the first thing when something happens to you, you get hurt? You fight, you resist, you got to defend yourself. So if everybody is starting out from a hurt perspective, then what happens is we're always competing with each other. Because I don't want you to hurt me, even though my intent is not to hurt you, but I'm not going to let you hurt me before I hurt you or before I roll out. And so it just, and we want to be accepted. I mean, just think of it, you know? So we want to put ourselves ahead of my brother, because if we're in a group of 100 people, and we both walk in a room, we both dress the same, and we both wear the same outfit and everything, they don't know until we articulate and we exhibit our mannerisms who they're going to lean towards as far as leadership, guidance. So we tend to put people in a box based on our traditions, and then by doing so, we start from a position of hurt, and we are not looking to create win-win situations.
Yep. That's a good that's good right there.
Yeah, and the reason why, if everybody's watching, if you haven't, it's a book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Y'all hear that?
By Stephen Covey. And it talks about like emotional deposits and emotional withdrawals in the personal human bank account, right? So when I meet you and I say, Kenneth, I like your shoes, you look handsome in that outfit, I just made a deposit into your emotional bank account. I can flip that and say, Kenneth, man, them shoes, blah, 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 you need to dress better. I withdrew. So now, if I'm coming to you and I'm withdrawing from you, I'm hurting you. But if I want to see you win, then the goal is to deposit into our fellow brothers and sisters instead of withdrawing. And we've come from a position of withdrawing. Anytime you have 2 Europeans calling each other's name, right? So they're withdrawing. They're making emotional withdrawals. What we have to do is separate from that dynamic because their emotions are not our emotions. Their systems are not our systems. They didn't put those systems in place. I always say when dealing with voting, if I can go here, you talk about where we go from here. Slavery is alleged to have started in the continental U.S. in 1492, somewhere around 1400. If voting was so important and politics was so important, ask yourself, why did they wait 200 to 300 years before they put a political system in place? Leading up to that, it was about economics and building and using slave labor to create wealth. And then once you create wealth, you create systems to sustain it. We are on the backside of that. So if we separate from how their systems have guided us, then we can get back to humanity and love and accepting each other for who they are and creating win-win situations. Our problem is we're everybody's just caught up in a mix. We're all caught up in this beautiful American dream mix of you have opportunity. It's the land of opportunity. It's the land of the free. It's the home of the brave. But who are they talking about? Right? Who are they referring to when they say the land of the free? We weren't free. So when you ask the question, where do we go from here? First of all, we got to revisit where we went, where we were, where we came from. Because before you lay out a roadmap of where you're going forward, you got to identify the mistakes you made leading up to the point. So in order to know where you're going, you first got to know where you came from. And then we can ask the question, where do we go from here? Because we put in place strategies and logistics to ensure, right? So I want to ask you, what are some bullet points or some benchmarks when we say where do we go from here? Give me 5 solid infrastructure things that can be tangible and we can actually lay a roadmap on where do we go from here. Or 3 or 4, whichever comes to mind, whichever's easy.
I say accountability.
Okay.
Integrity.
Okay.
And I say accountability for how we behave, actions.
Okay. Okay.
Because I think right now that's the missing factor that we're all missing, no matter where we're at, as it relates to improving the condition of mankind. There's no accountability to address what caused us to be at war with each other for the state of the human experience.
Yes.
We don't want to account for what caused this to be the way that it is.
Right. Okay.
I look at, you know me, I do a lot within the homeless community.
Yes, you do. I call it houseless. Can we call it houseless?
Houseless, yeah.
Because the God created the original temple. Our original home is right here. Right?
Talk heavy.
Our original home is here. So I tell people, because how we lift people up is based off the words we use. And so somebody's truly houseless, but the man-made temple is that's what they say, home is where the heart is. Where's your heart? Right in your body. But go ahead, I digress. So you said accountability and
integrity, meaning that I believe that there's causes and effect for the way that things happen with the homeless. I don't believe that people just say, hey, I want to be homeless.
Right.
I know specifically that there are people that I have met with PhDs. I have met some very prominent people who were educated. But because of life happening, either due to health issues or loss of wages, you know, one of the things that I read on HCH Healthcare for the Homeless, they said the average American is 2 paychecks away from being homeless. And I don't know how many people really pay attention to that.
Yeah, I'm going to shed some light on that, but go ahead, keep talking.
We if you look at the state of the economy, right, especially pre-COVID.
Yeah, right.
a lot of individuals, because of either their job was either not giving out as much hours.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about a retail job, you make about $9-10 an hour.
Right.
But if you look at the rent across the DMV, DC, Maryland, and Virginia, you
mm-hmm.
look at the cost of living. I don't know of a place that you can rent under $800.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's some out there, but they're few and far between. But let's go back to when we talked about the paycheck to paycheck, okay? And I actually had this conversation with a client. For those that don't know, I am an accountant, a business consultant, a health and nutrition person, and I believe your health is your wealth. And financial literacy and the lack of nutrition awareness ails our people as a whole. And this is the reason why. Let's go to the paycheck to paycheck. First of all, in this country, everybody admits there's a labor class, right? Somebody's probably at work right now laboring for a 2-week paycheck, okay? Our problem is the wealthy created the belief that the labor class is the best way to live the American dream, right? Go to school for 12 to 14 to 16 years, get a nice job, retire, get you a house, right? But then what happens is fiscally irresponsible, because if you don't have 4 to 7 streams of income before you move into any house that you eventually call your home, then you're hustling backwards. And this is the reason why. I work a job and I get paid every 2 weeks. But every month I got like 7 bills. And I gotta balance my income that I have to wait. Now I give all my hours. Every day I'm pushing 8 hours. So before I can get paid, I gotta wait the equivalent of 10 times 80 hours. I gotta wait 80 hours. But the company is making money off of my back. I'm a laborer. Now when the end of the month comes, I gotta balance my checkbook to pay the gas, the electric, the food bill, the rent or the mortgage. So you already start out in the hole. So I see why it's easy. I don't care if you're making $200,000 a year or $20,000 a year. If you're fiscally irresponsible and you're more consumer, so they did 2 things. They created the labor class and they created consumption, consumerism. So now you add habits that result in consumption. Women, I'm upset, I like shopping. Guys, I'm upset, I'm going to drink. What are you doing? You're consuming. You're making the non-labor class wealthy. You're adding another stream of debt to your already overloaded financial situation. That's why we're stuck, because we have a labor mindset. We need to have a builder's mindset, okay? I can work a 9 to 5, but I gotta be building towards something. Stack enough money so I can start my own or have my own on the side. Because if you don't do that, then you go into the Republicans and Democrats. Let's kind of go back to the presidents. I'm 47 years old. So that means I was barely walking when I believe Nixon got impeached and Gerald Ford took over, then Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, I can name them, George Bush the first, Bill Clinton, George Bush the second, you know, I'm quizzing myself, Barack, and then Donald Trump. Out of all of those presidents, nothing has changed when it comes to labor. Everybody I know, my mother, my father, my uncles, my aunts, cousins, family, friends, whatever, go to work and struggle with building their credit. But they look good. They got nice clothes, they got nice shoes, they got a nice car. They eat when they want, eat out. And then you look to some type of person to save you, either by some tax cuts, or subsidies. But what did you do those 365 days of the year with the money that came in your hand that you chose to buy some new shoes for? Or you wanted to get the big Benz? And there's nothing wrong with that. However, if you're not building to ensure when you get that, it's not adding another debt to, again, you're already loaded, right? You're already loaded debt structure. That's why we can't build credit. We have no disposable income. Our income is based on a dynamic of 1 week. I don't know how many jobs have you had in your illustrious. Too many. So how many paid you on a weekly basis compared to a bi-weekly basis? Can you remember?
I haven't had
many that paid you on a weekly basis, right? Okay, cool. Think of it this way. Laborers get excited when they know they can get their paycheck 1 week early or every week. So you get 4 checks in a month. The problem is if you're still a consumer, that means you're just spending your money faster than a person that got to wait 2 weeks.
That's true. You know, this is often something that I have that I often teach in relation to the people who are trying to save.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I often admonish people to take automatically when they get paid to take $20. This may sound very, very far-fetched.
No, it's not.
The
Keep going down. Keep going.
To take $25 from their checking account to put in toward their savings account so that they can, it seems small in value, but it's big in principle.
And what is it doing? I got that word again. It's building.
It's building.
It's building. I'm going to say this. I like the $25 one. My father, when I was here, said, every time you make something, put 10% in your drawer. Now, what was important in that, what I didn't know at the time, let's go back to, what's the original God temple? You are, right? I am. God made everybody in his image. My father was teaching me to tithe, but tithe to the God temple first, not the man-made temple. Okay? So when I share that with people, that just goes to show how disconnected they are, because they'll say tithe and give to a man-made temple. But your first responsibility, I always tell people, the first law of survival is self-preservation. Fiscally, spiritually, mentally, and physically, right? If I can preserve myself, then I can self-actualize. And then anybody that looks like me, I can put things in place to help preserve them. That's how we make a movement as a collective. But if we're all operating in a labor mindset, we're not building anything.
You know, it's something that I often talk about in outreach, and I often get this criticized a lot, but it is what it is. I tell people about outreach, right? Because we have a lot of people that do outreaches or they do missions, right? And they do, and I'm not saying, because I believe in the concept of humanism. I operate from the humanitarian principles. I don't believe in looking at a person's social class, their origin, gender, nationality, political affiliation, because I see them as human beings. I see people from a humanistic standpoint, and I believe that that's what's missing in the whole diaspora of the way humanity runs. We use a lot of stuff, a lot of nonsense, a lot of rhetoric as a determining factor as to whether or not that we value them as human beings.
Yes.
But with that being said, I see that we will give to, on the other side of the world, and we won't attend to the stuff within our own back and front yard. Like we'll give, and not y'all. I love Africa. Don't use this against me.
Africa love us.
I love Africa. I love Haiti. But here's the thing. When we think about when we give so much to Haiti, right?
Mm-hmm.
And right here in the nation's capital, you get what I'm saying? We got over 12 homeless encampments, right? But we not the initiatives to give to help eradicate the homeless right here. And we give, and I hate to say it, but this is what we do. We give so much money to these missions, these global missions, but we're not doing nothing right here to eradicate the homelessness right here in the nation's capital. But how is it in D.C.? Come on now.
I'm with you.
D.C.
I'm going to tell you why, too. Right?
How is it that in D.C., right, we see Tent City? We see this the nation's capital. This what they say, make America great again, right?
Yeah, MAGA. But for who? Who you making America great again for?
CAG. They said keep America great.
Keep it great.
And I'm putting this on the record. Under the Republicans, under the Democrats, I have not seen the condition of the homelessness change for the greater good.
Wow. Okay, so let's first do this. The reason why it's a mindset. I'm going to keep harping on the labor mindset, the wealth mindset. See, when you have the perception that America is the wealthiest country in the world, that means the powers that be, when it comes to allocating funds to Haiti, Africa, Bosnia, they have to create an image of respect outside of the country. Because America has created so many enemies. Okay? So you got to, it's like, if I want Kenneth on my team, I'm gonna go ahead and give him some fruit, give him some bananas. Even though my kid's hungry. But I need Kenneth on my team for the ultimate goal. Then you go back to here. Everybody has an opportunity. Why should I give? You got a tent. It was something you did in your life that made you get here. It's not our fault. So that's the mindset also. Because there's people that walk down the street, suit and tie on, no matter what hue they are, will frown upon somebody. Like you said, where's the heart of the man? Because we're told to believe that, hey, we can make it in this country. So that's why, in short, because we have a warped sense of humanity. That's why when you talk about when they got people with the communism and the socialism and the all of those ways of life, utilitarianism, the greater good, all those things that we were exposed to, we didn't know why, we didn't know what the purpose is, but capitalism in of itself is not bad, right? It's the exploitation and it's the greed of the individual that is capitalizing, right? Because the word capital, off of the backs of those that either one, haven't been exposed to the knowledge by choice or by force, right? In other words, we're going to redline. We're not going to teach you financial literacy because by the time, if we teach you financial literacy at 3 years old, then you're not going to feed me as a wealth builder at 18 when it's time to work. You know why? Because you're going to invest, you're going to start your own business, and that's one less worker I have in the worker pool, which means as an owner, I got to go work. So the mindset of us is that, hey, we're America. I'll use this as an example, and then I'll throw it back to you. I was in Jamaica 2014. And I'm very frugal, and I love being able to not be pressured by the bill collectors per se. If I want to take a vacation and the mortgage due, goddamn it, I'm gonna take a vacation and the mortgage due. I just have to articulate to them, hey, something came up. But saying that to say is, I'm over there and the guy comes up to me and says, let me get $5. Well, if he's selling something, right? He's selling some necklaces. Anybody been to Jamaica before? Their hustle is on 1,000, right? I love it. I love it. Tree, 1, 2, not 1, 2, but tree jobs. But I was like, I ain't really got no money like that. And this is what he said. But the way we look at it is you had enough to come over here. So Whereas we have jobs in this country, they don't have jobs in Haiti like that. So it speaks bigger to a whole United Nations and what, because most times people are not going into a country until they have resources. Governments don't go into countries unless there's a natural resource there. They're in Africa because of gold, diamonds, bauxite, you name it, minerals. They're in Afghanistan, opium, poppy seed, all that, oil, all that. They're not going somewhere if there's no resources. And when they do go in there, in order to get access to the resources, they have to create the humanitarian perception that we're coming to do good. Whereas to behind the scenes, they're coming to rob, steal, and destroy. So that's why you have in this country like that, you have tent city in the nation's capital, because at the end of the day, if Republican, Democrat, whatever, once they get into that Ivy League and they start getting into the politics and the lobbyists and the big corporate America, big pharma, these people that lobby to get their agendas pushed on society, they really at the end of the day don't care. They don't care that it's tent city. They don't care it's the nation capital, because they believe everybody has the opportunity. And that's why I respect Martin Luther King when he finally started to exhibit his quote unquote Malcolm X side. He said, and I think we shared the video, how you expect somebody to pull themselves up in the bootstraps and they ain't got no boots?
That's real.
Okay. So, but the powers that be believe that if you're on this land, everybody got boots, and that's not true.
And everybody believes within this mindset that we're all equal. Another thing that I think before we close out, I want to bring this to the table too as well.
Okay.
I think sometimes individualism can be a hinder in the condition of the way man. I don't want to necessarily say individual. I'll say privilege. I'll say like this: they feel as though because you had an opportunity to get an education without getting into student debt, that everybody else has those same opportunities.
Yeah.
And then they'll say, well, even under this administration we have, people. I hear people say, I'm black in America and I haven't experienced racism. So y'all are, I didn't hear this. They said, well, we have let media to dictate how we as black people view police. I believe that, that's why I said like the individual thing. And my thing is this: we're so in denial about what the issues are that lay at hand that we don't take time to chisel that thing away,
right,
and say, hey, this is here, but we do need to start creating, this issue. The last show I did, I had talked about. I said we said, hey, there's an elephant in the room, but it's not enough just to acknowledge the elephant is in the room. It's what do we do
about the elephant in the room? Everybody can identify the problem, but it takes somebody different to identify and provide a solution. I'm big on words, and I'm going to go back to the word racism. Nobody, and I do mean nobody. When I say this, I'm looking to the camera, right? I don't know if that gentleman off right there. Okay. Nobody, no matter what color your skin is, has truly ever experienced racism in this country, and I'm explaining to you why. The powers that be, we use definitions based on what the European told us words mean, right? Okay, Webster's, Oxford, Black's Law Dictionary. So this is their definitions. What I like to do is delve into why they use these type of words and why they structure them with these type of meanings. And then I say we can recreate our own dictionary, our own lexicon. So I can redefine, because if we redefine what we were told, then we may be redefine the way we go. The reason I said there was two important races. See, when I see racism, I spell racism RACEISM. Every time you hear the word, let's say we're in school, I'll race you to the locker. You want to compete and you're trying to win, right? The reason why we don't experience racism, there was two significant races that happened in this country that none of us were privy to. The first one was when the Queen of England was informed that there was land to be inhabited in North America. And all the countries, Spain, Portugal, France, Great Britain, England, you name it, they got in their ships. And the race was whoever got to that land first, they got to claim that land. That's how the 13 colonies started, because if they're coming from Europe, guess what? They have to hit the East Coast first. That's the first race. Do you know any black people that was on there? Any ships that came from Africa in that race? Nope, I don't either. The second race, before the Reconstruction era, when Abraham Lincoln and so forth, they opened up the Midwest, the Lewis and Clark expedition. That's why we got to understand his story in order to recreate our story. The second most important race. Shout out to Dr. Claude Anderson, because he talks about the 5 pillars of the community that we need. So this is really just harking on what he says. 2 million acres of land from Oklahoma all the way to the Midwest. We were still coming out of slavery, or still, in most parts, still enslaved. They opened up the Midwest and they told all the white settlers, the European settlers, you get free land now. Race to the Midwest. Claim your acreage and it's yours. No black people, to my knowledge, were a part of that race. That's why when you look at the land of the free, again, the land of the free, the second race was the most important race, because at that time, with the Constitution and all that now being in play, Declaration of Independence, the only people they considered land or free is people. We were property. 3/5 human. So we never truly, in my opinion, truly experienced racism, because the race was already won. We experienced colorism and fearism. The fear of the black man, because if you study the black civilization coming up through the Nile River, if you study ancient Mayans and the Aztecs, our brothers too, the Asians, if you studied there, it was about unity. Yeah, they beef with other factions, right? But it was about unity and building, love, helping each other out, okay? So we weren't competing with each other in those civilizations, okay? But in this country, it's all about competition. And the two most important races that we were not privy to, in other words, we ain't subject to racism, is those two races. We are subject to colorism, right? We are subject to that, because if they see your color, they're going to already judge you. But as far as racism, what race have we won? We still have the highest rate of incarceration. We still have the highest unemployment rates, right? Our churches are big, making big money. No disrespect. You have to answer to that yourself, right? I'm not here to judge. But all these things, and we spend the most fucking, excuse my language, money with the largest consumers. So when we keep focusing on racism, like you said, we have to look within ourselves and hold ourselves accountable. Because any terminology somebody puts on it, we can be that or not.
You hit something, as I know we're pressed for time.
Okay.
Was the time clock when
okay.
that went out. You hit something that I think that really is important. You hit the fact of colorism, because shout out to Jane Elliott. She talks about the colorism perspective. But you also talked about the fear of man. And I think they often in society, we often hear a lot about, I value my sisters, I value my black sisters, my queens and whatnot. But I also feel as though not only is the black woman disrespected, but I also feel like the black man, of course this would lead to a whole nother other dynamic.
I like where you're going. I think I know where you're going.
But the black man is not respected neither, because it's always been the type of way of.
And this is where I don't want to, for the sake of competing, but I'm going to be real, it's uncut. This is where our sisters of a darker hue miss the boat, because they want to compete. Well, black women are the most disrespected. You don't think black men are disrespected? But one thing you got to add to it, this is why the school to prison pipeline. Not only are black men the most disrespected, they're the most feared.
Y'all heard it there, truly. If y'all want to continue to engage and to stay up to date with Uncut Live with Kenneth Clark, even if you want to be a guest or a host on Uncut Live with Kenneth Clark, y'all feel free to reach out to me on Instagram, Change Agent Now Forever. Y'all reach out to my boy
Hannibal the Boss, the shop, number 4, DA listeners. Also, that's IG, Hannibal Jarrell, Jerrell, on Facebook. Also about to relaunch the shop, How About the Listeners, coming soon. Be on the lookout. Also, Health is Wealth. We'll share more as we continue to build as opposed to labor. Thank you so much.
Y'all know it's your boy Kenneth Clark. You know where it is, where we focus on mind, body, soul, spirit, social issues, politics, faith. You've just been plugged in with Uncut Live with Kenneth Clark, where we keep it 100 on 1,000. Y'all stay tuned, because the original guest will be back tomorrow. The Stubbs, my man Brown. Y'all already know it's your boy. You never know what might happen. You never know who might be on the set. We keep it real. We keep it gangster. Thank you for plugging in. Peace.